What's up, everybody? Paul here from the Hoops Crew, and today I've just finished recording a summer series with Ben, and then all of a sudden, a very juicy piece of footballing news broke, and I felt the need to talk about it as quickly as I can. So stay tuned for that summer series. It's a very exciting one that Ben and I have put together. But today, I want to talk about Jamarra Ugle-Hagan. Now, I want to be very, very clear out the gate here, because I know that some Bulldog supporters are going to see this and hear this. And what I am trying to make abundantly clear right now is that I'm not saying there's anything definitive about any of this. I am going to speculate. I am going to present some hypotheticals and talk about some history of players, not just at Bulldogs, but competition-wide, because I think there's something to be said for Jamarra's situation now. And the Geelong Football Club, in the loosest of ways, can loosely be connected here and presents me with a conversational topic that I think is important for Bulldogs fans, it's important for Geelong fans as we look to build towards the future. So there's been some reporting about Jamarra Ugle-Hagan, his off-season, some challenges that he's facing right now. And I want to make sure that I'm unbelievably respectful of all of those, despite the fact that we are now, of course, going to be talking about his future. But before we get to any of that, a word from our sponsor.
The Hoops Crew Media Network is proudly sponsored by Cyril Cook Florist, established in Geelong since 1915. Visit their website at www.cyrilcookflorist.com.au. That's Cook with an E. Give them a call on 035 222 2244, or mention the Hoops Crew to get yourself 20% off your next in-store purchase when you visit them at Shop 12, 11 Leather Street in Breakwater.
Thank you, Cyril Cook, as always, for your ongoing support. Now, let's talk a little bit about Jamarra Ugle-Hagan and the conversation that's swirled around him publicly in the last 24 hours. Firstly, we start talking about some reporting that we're seeing here on The Age from the likes of Sam McClure, but it is being reported on elsewhere as well and has since been confirmed by the Western Bulldogs. So, Jamarra Ugle-Hagan has been absent from training for much of the preseason, a situation the club describes as a flexible training arrangement as he deals with personal issues. Thankfully, and I'm really glad to hear this, at least so far, I haven't seen anyone discussing what these personal issues are. And while we are going to sit here and speculate on his future and have some of those conversations in a football space, I think it's unbelievably important that we, as anyone who comments on football, whether you're full-blown media like a Sam McClure is, or whether you're some pundits, or whether you're kind of somewhere in the middle like we are on the Hoops Crew here, I think it's really important that we pay the utmost respect to the individuals involved in this thing, because they don't really want their personal issues being brought to light in such a way. So far, so good in that regard, and hopefully that remains the case. Two club sources speaking on the condition of anonymity to talk freely said Ugle-Hagan had barely been sighted at training since the start of December last year. A close source close to Ugle-Hagan, who didn't want to be quoted because of the personal nature of the situation, said the star forward had been dealing with personal issues and the club was supporting him. The club released a statement on Tuesday afternoon, so this is updated now to reflect the most up-to-date news that we have. The Western Bulldogs can confirm that forward Jamarra Ugle-Hagan is currently undertaking flexible training arrangements as he deals with personal issues, the statement said, with the endorsement of the football program. And this is where I think I'll move properly over to the official statement from the Bulldogs. With the endorsement of the football program, Jamarra has alternated his training between Mission, Whitten Oval, and away from the club. The club continues to provide its full support to Jamarra and remains in constant contact with him and his management. With Jamarra's health and well-being of paramount importance, the club requests that his privacy be respected during this period. Again, well done, everyone here, for not speaking about what these are. I don't know what they are. Sam McClure probably does. There's probably plenty of people who, because of their role within the AFL industry, absolutely do and are doing the right thing by not disclosing that. And hopefully, again, that remains the case. Unless Jamarra has done something wrong that then puts him in a position of trouble with the law, there is no reason for these sort of things to be discussed. And I sincerely hope that's not the case, that there's nothing involving the law as well. So let's talk about Jamarra and why us as a Geelong channel would be talking about this guy. He's a gun forward. He's one of the best up-and-coming forwards in the competition, and it cannot be people can't lose sight of the fact that he is kind of a country boy at the end of the day, a country Victorian boy. So for some history, for some context for people, he was out, I think it was Warrnambool. I'm going to double check all of that now. I think it was Warrnambool, or was it? Yeah, it was. He played South Warrnambool. So he's out west. He technically would be in a Geelong kind of catchment zone, for want of a better phrase. He did go on to play with Oakley Chargers, and so that kind of changed a little bit through his under-18s, his the national competition year. But the guy is kind of on the Geelong backyard, and he knows the country lifestyle, and I'm sure he really appreciates the country lifestyle, as seemingly anyone who has kind of been brought up in the country and then goes to the big smoke, whether it's Melbourne, Sydney, Queensland, Perth, or Adelaide, regardless, or Canberra, sorry, for the Giants, wherever they go, there's always that little bit of attachment to the country, and that you kind of hear these stories about this player. Oh, they want to get back to the country. They want to enjoy that lifestyle a bit. Even if it's not their backyard, they want to enjoy that lifestyle. And that's what Geelong has long been able to provide these players. And so there's a bit of me that goes, well, could it be and this, again, a lot of speculation here in this video. There's nothing definitive whatsoever. There's no evidence to suggest that he might want to go to Geelong either. But I cannot help but wonder, is there a chance that Jamarra Ugle-Hagan could come to Geelong? And I think about the Geelong forward line, and we've obviously got Jeremy Cameron, who's closer to the end than the beginning, but he's not as far along as, say, Tom Hawkins was last year. He's still got a few years up his sleeve. And we've got, obviously, as a young key forward coming in, Shannon Neal is now going to get the opportunity to really properly break through. I'm going to double check while we're at this his contract status. I can't remember when he last signed. He committed in May 2024 for another 2 years, the contract extension for 2 years. So it's not a long-term contract that he's on. I'm certainly not suggesting that anything's going to happen at the end of 2025 either. But you think about the Bulldogs forward line. There's Jamarra. There's Aaron Norton. There's Sam Darcy. There's Rory Lobb's been playing more as a defender. But they've got a plethora of key forwards at the Dogs. And as much as Jamarra was picked one in the draft and he oozes potential, in these scenarios, there are always opportunities for players to fall out. And when you have a player who's experiencing personal issues, maybe something traumatic has happened, like there could be a range of different things, but sometimes for those players, and Bulldogs fans are kind of familiar with Bailey Smith and the troubles that he was having that then led to him coming, in this case, to the Cats. When a player kind of is enduring something traumatic or really, really difficult and a massive obstacle in their life, sometimes they need the change. Maybe it's not even a sea change like a city team to a country team, but it's just, I need to move a different city, or I need to move to a different club so I can just wipe the slate clean and start again and have that clear air and new fresh faces around me. And maybe for Jamarra, that's what he needs at the end of all this. And maybe that results in him being on the move sometime in the next couple of years, whether that's when his contract is up, maybe something needs to happen sooner. It's a really fascinating spot that he's in. But as Geelong supporters, and I'm sure the Geelong Football Club is instantly, if they haven't already, doing some research into this and trying to learn a little bit about his status, because players like this don't come up very often. Players like this, if they are on the market for any reason, you kind of want to bend over backwards to try and facilitate it. I'm sure Dogs fans won't love the idea. I'm sure leadership of the Bulldogs wouldn't love the idea of having to work with Geelong again on a big transaction if that were the case. But it's not just Geelong. Every club in the competition would be sitting up and paying attention, no matter how deep your forward line is right now. And I think about a Fremantle, for example, who's got a Jai Amos, and they've got so many wonderful key forwards that are there and available to them. They would be looking at this too, because you've got to. This is one of the most talented young blokes that I think that many of us have seen emerge on the scene in quite some time. There's a lot of Buddy qualities to him in terms of he's got that height, he's got that athleticism, he's a key forward just like Buddy. There's a range of parallels that can be drawn here, and it's a really, really fascinating one. So any club is going to do their due diligence. The fact that he's a country boy does give Geelong some points. The fact he's a country boy from Warrnambool, so Geelong would be the closest city for him, would be the most logical one if he's trying to get closer to home. It's a really fascinating one. Like I've said a few times now, I'm not going to sit here and say he is leaving, he is going to Geelong. I got no information on that, and no one's really suggesting that's the case yet either. And everyone is rightly paying respect to Jamarra and whatever he's going through right now, and long may that continue. But we've seen a pattern of this sort of thing occur with players across the competition over the years. That something has happened, they've needed to get out. Something they're responsible for, something that's out of their control, and they've needed to get out. They've had family reasons they've needed to leave. And maybe this is one of those. So, firstly, Jamarra Ugle-Hagan, I know you're not watching this, but if you somehow know Jamarra, if you're a Bulldogs fan, we wish Jamarra nothing but the best, and hopefully he's fit and firing and in a good headspace and is able to play his best football for the Dogs this year. And the Dogs are a very strong team and could be very, very dangerous again this year. So I wish him nothing but the best. And outside of the fact that obviously I want the Cats to win the flag, I'd be stoked to see the Dogs there or thereabouts, and hopefully the season goes well for him. Hopefully the off-field concerns that he's working through at the moment, but behind him very, very soon. But, and it's a big but, if there's an opportunity to bring this guy through the door, we absolutely need to look into it, as every club should be. But as a Geelong Football Club, we absolutely should be, because the list profile is just right for him. Jeremy Cameron, couple years left. Shannon Neale coming through. You could have this future completely set where it's Shannon Neale and Jamarra Ugle-Hagan with the fleet of smalls and mid-sized forwards around him, in the Jay Polkinghorns and the Ollie Henrys and those sorts of guys alongside your Brian Myers, your Tyson Stengels, your Brad Closes. This incredible forward line that we've had for years, which was for a long time headed by Tom Hawkins, and then was a combination of Tom Hawkins and Jeremy Cameron, and it's now Jeremy Cameron and Shannon Neale. This can just continue on and on and on, and Jamarra would be amazing for that. So, Cats fans, let me know what you think. Bulldogs fans, I hope I've showed the utmost respect for your beloved player, and hopefully he does well, and hopefully everything is all good soon. But it is a conversation worth having. It's an interesting one. It's a fascinating one, and as a Cats fan, hopefully there's something that results in him coming to the Cats. But first and foremost, his health and well-being is priority, and hopefully that is the case. Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure to check out the Hoops Crew for more content. We had a video going up about Tom DeConing a little while ago and his potential movements and some of the comments he'd made about his future, where that does or doesn't take him, whether the Cats are a part of that, with his brother Sam, obviously at the Cats as well. I alluded to Summer Series before. There's lots of videos coming out there around a whole range of just big general AFL-related topics. Go check those out. Ben and I recorded another one today talking about the best 25 Geelong Cats of this 25-year-long century so far. So stay tuned for that one when it goes up as well. That's a really fascinating conversation, and I think you'll really enjoy it. Check out the Hoops Crew on Patreon if you want to get early access to content, if you want to get extended content, if you want to get exclusive content. It is all there on the Patreon. Check that one out as well. $5, the cost of a coffee. That's all it takes to get an entire month worth of content. So go check that one out. And then there's socials. You can find me at Paul James Games. Check out the Hoops Crew as well. Thank you for watching. Remain Geelong strong, and I'll see you later.